Welcome to Tom Padula TV and to a series that is going to delve into one of my passions, which is history. Now, what better way than perhaps to start with Australia's iconic Battle of Gallipoli. And I have with me just the right person to give you a taste of what it is to be Australian today and to have gone to Turkey and to Libya this year, 2012, to witness firsthand Australia's contribution to its own identity from the beginning. Hi, Kelvin Thompson.
G'day, Tom. It's great to see you again.
Well, Kelvin, for those people who don't know, I'm sure in the world they will know that Kelvin Thompson is member for Wales. That's our electorate. Therefore, I have the pleasure of having you here at Teatro Padula and the Insania building. And tell me something, Kelvin. You tell me, because I don't know where you've been lately. I know you travel a lot, and you've participated in the Anzac celebrations.
Indeed, Tom. As you know, there are a lot of people of Turkish background in this electorate, and for years they've been saying to me that I need to get to Turkey and I need to have a look at Istanbul and Ankara and the Gallipoli Peninsula. And until last week, I'd never had the opportunity to do that. But I'm a member of the Australian-Turkish Parliamentary Friendship Group, and there were half a dozen members of that group, half a dozen MPs, who had the opportunity to go there for the Anzac Day commemorations this year in 2012, and it was a very memorable experience. We went to Istanbul for the first few days and we had some meetings there, but also did a little bit of sightseeing. Istanbul is of course a very ancient city, the crossroads of Asia and Europe, and back as Constantinople and even Byzantine, even further back.
So it goes back
it has
more than 2,000 years.
It has a very rich history indeed, and we got to see Sultan's palaces and the Blue Mosque and go for a cruise down the Bosphorus River, so there were some opportunities to have a look at this ancient city. But there's no doubt that the highlight was the visit to Gallipoli Peninsula, which we arrived at a couple of days before Anzac Day. We spent an afternoon touring the battlefield, so Anzac Cove itself, the site of Simpson's grave, and school children in Australia have heard the story of Simpson and his donkey. I remember hearing this when I was a kid, and it's just something that's been part of primary school syllabuses, the legend of the Australian soldier who John Simpson Kirkpatrick, who had jumped ship in Australia and had worked in a variety of jobs before enlisting to fight in the First World War, and when he landed at Gallipoli he got a donkey. He'd seen them as pack animals in Egypt, and he used the donkey, he stuck a red cross on it, and he used the donkey to rescue many wounded soldiers, and it was extremely heroic. Others followed his example, other stretcher bearers.
There are statues of the donkey in various parts of the world. Do we have one in Australia?
I'm sure there are a number of them, Tom. I can't immediately give you their locations, but it is a really well-known legend. Unfortunately, like so many young Australians, he was killed there. He died several months after his arrival, but also the donkeys and the horses that are used in battle, they have been used in battle over the years, and dogs. They've all heroes in their own right. They are.
So in a war, not just humans are in the war,
yes,
also animals and I suspect nature in general. I just want to ask you, we always talk about the Gallipoli and the landing. Was there any Australian Navy boat there, sort of to commemorate the event? I've never seen it.
No,
have we ever sent, our ship from Australia?
We haven't had boats or ships arriving from Australia, although you might be interested to learn that there are a lot of preparations underway for the centenary, the 100th anniversary of the original Gallipoli landing. That is in 2015, that's to say 3 years' time. And one of the ideas that one of our MPs who was there, Melissa Parker's member for Fremantle, she was discussing with the Governor of Istanbul and our diplomatic personnel, was the idea of an Australian vessel going from Albany, as some vessels originally departed from Albany in Western Australia, and retracing the journey of the original ships and arriving at Gallipoli. Now that's clearly a major project, but it'd be very interesting if it could happen.
Going from one, we always go from one thing to another. Anzac 1915, Australia, 15 years into the Federation, very strong attachment to Britain. Since then, there have been a number of waves of historical developments within Australia. From 1915, say, to World War II, there was the Great Depression in the middle, very hard years. So we tend to focus a lot on that, but there are only really 25, 30 years of that period. And then we've got 1945 to 2010 now. And also we have to balance what happened between 1788 and 1915 or 2001, and you have to balance as well what went on beforehand. Now, this history can be quite confronting, but we really look at history in order to improve the future and to avoid the mistakes. So the mistakes that are made in the past, the blames, we don't want to go into blame games here. We're really talking about peace and harmony.
You make a number of good points, Tom. The first is that Gallipoli and Anzac Day is regarded as pivotal in establishing Australia's identity, because it is said that Australian soldiers went to the war as Britons. We thought of ourselves as British, and they said Britain is at war, therefore we are at war. We went to that war as Britons, but after we came back as Australians, and we thought of ourselves as different from the British, and we realised we had our own character. It's a laconic character. There's irreverence for authority. There's mateship. There's courage. These are not peculiar to Australia, but they are really important for us. And so, a lot of Australia's sense of itself and sense of identity was forged on that battlefield.
An identity. Identity is very important. And let's reflect a little bit. 1918. 1939, the beginning of World War II. Australia, these thoughts, Australians came back with those thoughts, and they were to be challenged as Australians during World War II. But we'll talk about this straight after the break, because you are on Tom Padula TV, and I have with me Calvin Thompson. We have been talking about history and especially Gallipoli, in commemoration of all people who die in wars, not just Australians, but everyone on every side, whether they're victims or whether they're oppressors. What we want, in general, we talk about peace and harmony. So come back for the second segment.